What's up, guys? I got a different video for you today. As you can see, I got the whiteboard behind me. I wanted to discuss the NAR settlement and kind of how it affected the real estate market and affected the way realtors do business. And what exactly is the NAR settlement? So the NAR settlement is something that happened on August 17th of 2024. What happened is it is now mandated that a realtor have a signed agreement with a buyer before they show them a property. So the way real estate has worked for the last 100 some years is a realtor like myself could meet a buyer at a property, first time meeting. I introduce myself and say, hey, my name is Austin, I'm a realtor. Open the door for him, that's it. I let him tour the house. If I hear back from him, I hear back from him. If I don't, I don't. It is what it is. What the NAR has now said is you have to have a signed contract with that realtor before they can show you a property. So now when I meet a buyer at a property, I have to have them sign something that states I am the realtor showing them the property. If they were to put an offer on the property, they would do it through me. And in the event that a seller isn't offering my commission, that they would pay me. So you can see why this scared a lot of people and why a lot of people don't really like it. Because if you've ever tried to get somebody to sign something when you first meet them, it's not an easy thing to do. And we're all the same way. I wouldn't want to sign something the first time I'm meeting somebody either. So let me get into the key points. Okay, so why would we work with realtors now if we have to sign something when we meet them? Why not just go directly to the seller or go directly to the listing agent? So my first point will be, you want somebody representing you. So you want your own representation. What do you say that? Representation. You want somebody that has your best interest, that's going to help you get to the closing table, that cares about what you're spending on the house and what fees you're going to encounter. So you want somebody that cares. You want somebody to take care of you. You want a realtor that's dedicated to just you on this transaction. Which brings me into my next point, number 2, the listing agent represents the seller. They don't represent you. The listing agent represents seller's best interest. So we'll just say LA for listing agent equals seller's best interest. We'll capitalize best. So if you do decide to go to an open house to talk to the listing agent or just directly call the listing agent, you do have to realize that they are representing a seller. They are trying to get their seller top dollar. They want what's best for them. They're not representing you in the transaction. They don't really owe you anything. You're not a client to them. They're going to do what's best for their seller. So you want somebody, like I said, who's going to take care of you, who's going to represent you, who isn't gonna take nothing less. They want to get you into a house for as cheap as they can, and they want to get you to the closing table as quickly as possible. So that's why you want your own representation, and you don't always want to go to the listing agent to get that representation. So, and that's up for you to decide. Would you want the person who's representing the seller and trying to get top dollar for that house to represent you as well? I know the conflict comes up with, can they even do that? Can they have both of your best interests at the same time? I know in some states they don't think it's possible. In some states they do. There's different laws in different states, but I know that I wouldn't want to be represented by the person who's representing the seller if I'm buying a house. So my third point, which is a lot of people's fear, I feel like, around the whole settlement, is that a seller no longer has to offer a commission for the buyer's realtor. So how it's always worked, like I said, for the last 100 some years, a seller will offer, let's say, 5 or 6% to a listing agent, and that listing agent would take that 5 or 6%, split it in half, so they get half of it, and then they offer half of it to a buyer's agent that brings them a buyer. So if I were to list a house, I'd say, hey, I'll do it for 5%. I take 2.5. If somebody brings me a buyer, if you're a good realtor, you bring me a good offer, I'll give you 2.5. They want to get away from that, and that is why this whole settlement happened, because some lawyers weren't happy about it and felt that they were trying to fix the real estate market instead of fixed price. So that's why we are where we're at now. They don't want anything to be fixed. They want everything to be negotiable. And it really always has been a negotiable business. Everything is negotiable. My commission is negotiable. The listing agent's commission is negotiable. The price is negotiable. Everything about the deal is negotiable. You can include appliances. You can not include appliances. You can offer home warranties. Everything is negotiable. So, and that's kind of what the NAR is getting at. So, my third point though is that majority of sellers are still offering a commission because that's what helps get the house sold. So we'll just say sellers still paying. Seller's still paying. The seller, and majority of the time, and don't quote me, this isn't always, but a lot of the time, a seller is still going to offer a commission to a buyer's realtor. Because when you think about it, a buyer can't afford to pay their realtor. They have closing costs, they have down payments. A lot of them have to furnish the house, or they have to redo stuff or fix stuff, or what if they have to put a new roof in, and you're already spending $100,000 to a quarter million to $500,000. You know, there's houses of all prices, and usually buyers are strapped down. A lot of buyers, by the time they get to the closing table, they're broke, and that's just the reality of owning a home, especially as a young person. So most buyers can't afford to pay their realtors, hence why sellers are still paying, because they want to get the house sold. Because if you're a buyer and you can't afford to pay your realtor, a lot of buyers will just say, if they're not offering you a commission, let's not even look at the house. So it's still helping sellers get their house sold. And like I said, everything is negotiable. I've been a part of deals where the seller was leaving it up for negotiation. He said, hey, bring me a good offer. If you bring me an offer that's 10 or 20,000 over, I'll pay you 4%. If you bring me an offer that's 10, 20,000 under and I take it, I'll pay you 1%. So the biggest thing about this settlement is everything is negotiable. We're getting away from fixed rates. Sellers aren't required to pay a realtor, but it sure helps. And you will see that once you're in the market. I rarely will you see a buyer paying their realtor. And if you're a buyer and you can afford to pay a realtor, great. If you think that they deserve the extra money and you want to give them an extra %, or you just want to pay them yourself, you are allowed to do that as well. If you can afford to do that, that's great. So just to wrap everything up about the NAR settlement. So for one, the NAR settlement itself, realtors have to have signed contracts with a buyer before they can tour a property with them now. You'll see some realtors that aren't following the rule, and they'll tour a home with you without making you sign anything. You can be fined. I've heard the NAR is already fining people. So if that's a risk a realtor is willing to take, then it is what it is. But secondly, after we get into the NAR settlement, a lot of it, business is still going to run the same because, like I said, buyer's agents are still going to exist because people need representation. Everybody just thought buyer's agents were going to disappear and everybody was going to go directly to the listing agent. While that is true in some case scenarios, there are a lot of people that want their own representation. And you'd be surprised on how many buyer's agents are still thriving. Agents that don't even list many homes, but they work with so many buyers, and you can be successful doing it. Number two, the listing agent is going to represent the seller's best interest. We talked about that. They are there to get top dollar for the home. A lot of them don't care about what's in your pocket. They don't care about trying to help you get a deal. They're trying to get this house sold for their sellers, and they're trying to move on. So you want somebody representing you. Third, the seller is still paying majority of the time. So like I said, if you want to get a house sold quick, you're going to offer a buyer's agent commission because that is going to help you get a buyer. That's going to bring a buyer to the table. A lot of the times, if you're not willing to pay one at all, you're not even willing to negotiate, a buyer might just say, hey, I don't want to see that house. They're not willing to pay you. I can't afford to pay you. Take it off the list. So, and like I said, even if the seller isn't offering a commission right off the bat, they can leave it negotiable. Like, hey, the listing agent's making 2.5%, bring me an offer, write it in the contract, we'll work out a commission for you. I've had that happen too. So business still goes on. There's a lot of realtors still thriving through this settlement. I know it had a lot of people confused and a little scared on what was going to happen, if the market was going to crash, if buyer's agents were going to cease to exist. It's just not true. Anyways, that wraps it up. Thank you guys for watching. I hope to have some more content for you soon. I hope this it helped you understand better of what the NAR settlement, how it works, and how realtors will do business from here on out. So like always, thanks for tuning in, and I will see you guys on the next video.